Hello, everyone. This is something that I don't generally do. I think my followers know just how much I hate doing solo videos. But it is an important subject, and I know that the left media is spreading a lot of disinformation, and I think that it's important to talk about it, and therefore I'm here. The subject that I want to talk about today is Somaiya School in Ghatkopar, Mumbai, and its principal, Parveen Shaikh, on whom we did a story a few days ago. And it's completely blown up, and the left has come in her support, and SDPI has come in her support, and the media is spreading canards without really telling people what are the posts that she has liked on social media, what is her social media activity, and why they are so problematic. So I'm going to start from the beginning. In the first part of this, I want to explain what the posts were and why they are problematic, and then we'll go from there. On the 21st of last month, I got a tip over email. I suspect it's a parent whose child studies in Somaiya School. The tip essentially said that the principal of Somaiya School in Mumbai is Miss Parveen Sheikh, and she has extremely problematic views. The email also said that Miss Parveen Sheikh was exclusively hiring a lot of the staff and teachers who are Muslim, even though Ghatkopar as an area in Mumbai is 99% Hindu, and most of the students who attend Somaiya School are Hindus. She also said that because the children were on vacation during Eid, Eid was celebrated later by Miss Somaiya Sheikh. And when the parents get an email or a notification about Diwali celebration, it's generally about oh, dress up in comfortable clothes and we're going to celebrate Diwali and so on and so forth. Now I'll come back to this because it's important. Either way, on the 21st, we got a tip about Somaiya School and its principal, Miss Parveen Sheikh. As soon as we got the tip, we started trying to dig into her online activity. On first glance, her Twitter account looked really benign. Her tweets were mostly about her journey as an educator and a principal, and the work that she was doing with Somaiya School, the awards that she's got, and the seminars that she's holding, and the talks that she's conducting, and so on and so forth. We saw that there were certain organizations that had tagged her on Twitter, therefore confirming that it was indeed Parveen Sheikh's account. Now, since her online activity was so innocuous, I wondered why I got this tip. And perchance, we glanced at her likes. It was actually her likes which were incredibly problematic. And anybody who says that the likes were just expressing a political opinion, which I think um, Hindustan Times has tried to do, Times of India has tried to do, Scroll has tried to do, Wire has tried to do expectedly, they're lying to you, which is why this video is extremely important. Now, I don't know how to do this really well, so bear with me for a moment. I am going to share the article that we wrote so that I can go through the tweets simultaneously with you. Right. So, this is the article that we published on the 24th of April. As you can see, we had sent an email to Ms. Parveen Sheikh and the Somaiya School email seeking for her comments and the school's comments prior to publishing this report as journalistic standards demand. We got no answer whatsoever, and therefore we went ahead and published the report. We had mentioned that if she doesn't respond, we'll add her response as an addendum whenever she chooses to respond to us. She has spoken to other media and defamed us, but she hasn't responded to us yet. Um, Moving on, let's try and analyze some of the tweets that Ms. Sheikh had liked. This is, of course, us talking about why we think it is her genuine account. Let's come to her social media activity. The first and the last tweet that has been liked from her account is a tweet from the April of 19th of April, and it likes a tweet by Suleiman Ahmad. Now, Suleiman Ahmad, as we all know, is an extremely anti-India, anti-Hindu element, but let's not get into that. The tweet essentially says that the votes on state of Palestine admission to UN. So Suleiman has listed the countries that have voted in favor of Palestine to be included to the United Nations. Again, this is a political opinion, and therefore we haven't really given it much importance. We've used it only to say that the tweet is from the 19th of April, which means that she has been active recently as well. The one tweet which was interesting is by Jackson Hinkle. Now, Jackson Hinkle is an extremely anti Semitic account. He has written about Haniyeh, who is the one of the heads of Hamas, and he's a senior leader. And she has liked a tweet which speaks about the martyrdom, quote unquote, of his children and grandchildren. And the tweet says the grandmother is praying to Allah for her children and grandchildren. Now, it is necessary to give context. Some of the children of Ismail, who's a senior leader of Hamas, were killed by Israel in their attempt to snuff out Hamas, which is an Islamist terror organization. And here, Jackson Hinkle is, putting an emoji that says his heart is broken at the death of his sons and her grandchildren, and all of them were Hamas fighters. They were all Hamas terrorists. Moving along, one of the other tweets that she likes is from this handle called KBS, Arabian GQ. It's a tweet from March 10th. The caption says, "May Allah bless his soul and reward him the highest of heavens." It's got an image of a caped man carrying an assault rifle. When you see what this account is replying to, you can see that he's replying to a tweet by some Megatron. When you see the tweet that he's replying to, it's actually a tweet about Hamza Hisham Amir, who was a Palestinian quote unquote resistance fighter. He is one of the known, apparently a famous Hamas terrorist who is fighting the Jews. And she has prayed that since he's been killed, he should get the highest reward of the heavens. The next tweet that she likes is by Dr. Anastasia Maria Lupus. She is again a famous anti Semite. And this is a tweet from the February of 23rd. It's a tweet which has somebody wearing the Palestinian flag on their forehead, and the board that they're holding says resistance is not terrorism. Now, why this tweet is important is because supporting Palestine and supporting the two nation theory, or supporting Palestine's right to exist or its right to nationhood, etc., can be called a political opinion. Yes, I have my own views on that political opinion, but it's certainly not something that you would, call very, very problematic on the face of it. However, supporting Hamas, which on the 7th of October sent thousands of terrorists, not just terrorists, even local average Palestinians, crossed over to Israel, murdered children, raped women, beheaded men, and took hostages. Basically, they killed over 1,500, 1,600 of Israelis. They also took hundreds of hostages. They raped women. There are images and videos which are horrific. They killed hundreds of party goers, young boys and girls who were simply partying and listening to music. They hunted them down like deer. To say they killed babies in their cribs. They killed babies in their cribs. They went home to home in these little, social living arrangements called kibbutz, and they killed people en masse. When I was in Israel in January, I went to one of these kibbutz that came under attack by Hamas. I went to the kibbutz and I saw every house burned down. I saw blood splatter. I saw bullet marks. I read the stories. I heard from the survivors. I heard from one of the survivors who was there at the music festival that came under attack. They came down from air, from the ocean, from the river, from air and by road, and murdered thousands of innocent civilians, raped hundreds of women, killed babies in their cribs, and took back hostages. Now, I have to mention here that not all of the people who crossed over to Israel on the 7th of October were terrorists, were Hamas terrorists. They were average civilians who would cross over to Israel every day on a work permit and work in these very kibbutz in Israeli households. They were the ones who passed on the information to Hamas, and they were the ones who also crossed over on the 7th of October when nude women who were raped and murdered were carried back to Israel, were carried back to Palestine, to Gaza, by the Hamas terrorists and the average Palestinians who had crossed over to Israel on the 7th of October 2023. There were average Palestinians hitting their bodies with sticks. They were spitting on them. There are videos where they've taken a knife and slowly beheaded men. The list of atrocities from the 7th of October goes on and on. Now, even if you are somebody who supports Palestine, which can be considered a legitimate political opinion, there is no reason why you should be unable to condemn what Hamas did. Even if you support Palestine, I don't, and I will discuss my reasons later. But even if you support Palestine, it should not be that difficult to say what Hamas did was terrible. It was terrorism, it was jihad. However, our Miss Parveen Sheikh likes a tweet that says, resistance is not terrorism, essentially saying that what Hamas did on 7th of October was resistance and not terrorism, killing innocent babies in their cribs, going house to house and looking for women to rape, going house to house and beheading men, killing old grannies in their homes on Shabbat morning, according to Parveen Sheikh, is not terrorism, it's resistance. Moving on, she has liked statements from Hamas as well. In one of the tweets that she likes by Mario, it was an official statement that says, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, we reject the occupation's lies about cases of rape, so on and so forth. I could read the entire statement to you, but I think it's pointless. It essentially says that it calls the 7th October massacre the Al Aqsa flood battle. They're still saying that it's a battle, and all the atrocities that they committed is Zionist propaganda. And they also said that it was resistance. They call all of the terrorists men of resistance and soldiers. This is the tweet that Parveen Sheikh has liked, one of the tweets. Let's go on to the next one. It's by somebody who has their name written in Arabic. And this tweet is in response to Jackson Hinkle again. It says, how would you convince me to believe that Hamas is evil? Essentially saying that Hamas is not evil and what they did on the 7th of October was not evil. Moving on, there's another tweet that says, who stands with Palestine? Question mark, raise your hand. It's of a Hamas fighter, quote unquote, in full cape, riding a horse, holding the Palestine flag. This tweet is from the 8th of October 2023, less than 24 hours after Hamas went into Israel and massacred babies and raped women and beheaded men. Less than 24 hours. She was saying, who stands with Palestine? Raise your hand. Now, yes, if you want to close your eyes, you can say that this tweet is just supporting Palestine. But less than 24 hours after they killed 1,600 innocent civilians in their home on Shabbat morning, if you're liking a tweet that says raise your hand who supports Palestine, with a fighter and with his gun, with his assault rifle, riding a horse, you are supporting what Hamas did on the 7th of October, and that is problematic. Parveen Sheikh not just supports Hamas, she also supports homegrown Islamists and homegrown jihadis. She's liked a tweet from Sharjeel Usmani. Sharjeel Usmani, I would remind you, he's one of the accused in the Delhi anti-Hindu riots case. He had written at that time in 2020 supporting Shah Rukh Pathan. If you remember who Shah Rukh Pathan was, Shah Rukh Pathan is somebody who pointed a gun at the head of a police officer, and he was at the forefront, one of the people at the forefront of riots on 23rd and 24th of February. She likes the tweet by Sharjeel Usmani, essentially endorsing whatever he has to say. In April 2022, Sheikh liked a tweet which blamed Hindus for Ram Navami violence and painted Muslims as the victims. In truth, it was the Muslims who had unleashed violence on the Hindus in 2022 on Ram Navami. OpIndia actually documented attacks on Ram Navami processions by Muslims in 5 states in 2022. And she's liked a tweet which is essentially saying that Hindus were at fault for coming under attack on Ram Navami. She has liked tweets extending support to Umar Khalid. Umar Khalid is one of the main conspirators of the Delhi anti-Hindu riots. He is lodged in jail under UAPA, which is an anti-terrorism law. The High Court has denied him bail, saying that there's prima facie evidence against him. The predecessor Sessions Court, the District Court, has denied bail to him, saying that there is evidence against him prima facie that he was a part of the conspiracy. They went to the Supreme Court, they delayed the trial, they tried to bench fix. Failing that, they withdrew their bail petition from the Supreme Court, and they're now fighting in the District Court again. The judgment on the bail is expected soon. But again, this is Umar Khalid, who is one of the conspirators of Delhi anti Hindu violence, in which Ankit Sharma was stabbed so many times that his intestines lay out of his body, in which Dilbar Negi, a Hindu youth, his hands and legs, his limbs were chopped off and he was burnt alive. Parveen Sheikh supports Umar Khalid. Sheikh has also liked a tweet where she proves herself to be a fan of Zakir Naik. Zakir Naik, who regularly spews venom against Hindus. He is a terrorist. He has espoused killing of kafirs and so on and so forth. The tweet is by some handle called Halal Nation. It's tweeted on August 30th, 2023. In the tweet, the caption is Alhamdulillah for Islam. That's another tweet that she's liked. She's also liked certain anti Hindu tweets, not just pro Hamas, pro terror, pro Islamist. She's liked anti Hindu tweets as well. She's liked a tweet which has this meme where Hindus in India are boycotting Muslims, but Hindus in the Middle East are begging for jobs. This is by Shireen Khan, who's another anti Hindu handle. She's like this meme, so I think we know what she feels about Hindus. While being the principal of a school which is largely Hindu, run by an organization, the Somaiya Trust, essentially, which has a long standing relationship with Hindutva and a long standing relationship with Hindu rights. She has also liked one video which was tweeted on the 22nd of Jan 2024. The tweet is by a handle Ambedkarite, and it says, "Every single word is fire." The video essentially said that there's no point going to temples. Um, you know, Temples are bad. It gives them nothing, and so on and so forth. This, while liking pro Hamas, pro Umar Khalid, and pro Zakir Naik tweets, proving that she is quite religious herself and she believes in the Ummah herself. But she believes that for Hindu kids, saying that going to temples is useless, temples are useless, and so on and so forth is completely legitimate. She follows an account, Rants and Roasts, very carefully. And Rants and Roasts is an extremely anti-Hindu handle. In one of the tweets, this handle posted a picture of Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi and asked people to fill in the bubble. So basically, what Xi would be potentially saying to Prime Minister Modi. And she tweets with Tommy Fetch, which is essentially, it means that she's calling Prime Minister Modi a dog. Ah, there are other tweets where she's completely anti Modi. She says, "Why doesn't Prime Minister Modi join the film industry?" There's another tweet that says, "What's the first name that comes to mind when you hear these words? Liar, fraud, incompetent, genocide, crass, narcissist, so on and so forth." She said one and only. Interestingly, there is a tweet by Rana Safvi, who is again extremely anti-Hindu. She tweets on in 2021, "Oxygen shortage, seize property of those spreading rumors," says Yogi Adityanath. It's a link of an article from The Hindu. Parveen says that he is a modern day Firon. Now, I googled what Firon means, and it apparently means the embodiment of evil as per Islamic scriptures. She's also retweeted a lot that shows where her loyalties lie. There's another tweet that says that they have sold their soul to the devil. Over here, she's talking about Arif Muhammad Khan. So for Parveen Sheikh, Arif Muhammad Khan is not Muslim enough, and he has sold his soul to the devil, while Hamas is not evil, and Hamas is something that we should all be supporting. There are, of course, posts that abuse Israel, which is again her political ideology. I have my views on it, but I don't want to say anything for this, for the purpose of this video. She's liked a tweet where one Twitter handle called Ollie London, who is again not a friend of Hindus per se, but he's tweeted, "This is how women are treated in Afghanistan. Where are all the protests and activists decrying this gender based violence? Where are all the pro Palestinian activists?" It's a video from Afghanistan where Taliban is torturing a woman, they're flogging her. She's wearing a full abaya head to toe. Parveen says, "So you bomb Gaza?" Question mark. She has no words to say about Afghanistan and Taliban's treatment of women, but she does believe that what Israel is doing is incorrect. And not just that, she believes that Hamas is not evil. Hamas is an organization that is to be supported. She believes Zakir Naik is somebody that we should all be supporting. Now, this is the principal of a school which is predominantly Hindu. This is a principal of a school. In fact, I'd like to point out that even if there are Muslim children, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Even if there are Muslim children in the school, let's assume that we're not just talking about Hindu children. And I genuinely am not. In that OpIndia article, if you notice, we haven't mentioned that there are Hindu students who study in the school. We haven't mentioned it's a predominantly Hindu school for the precise reason that a pro-Hamas, pro-terror, jihad supporter, Zakir Naik supporter, being the principal of a school where Muslim kids study as well is as dangerous as if the kids are Hindus. Because if you say that it's a problem only if, not if not you, I mean, if the media is saying that it's a problem because she is Muslim and there are Muslim kids in the school as well, I really want to ask, is it okay for somebody who espouses terror, for somebody who supports terror, to be teaching Muslim kids? Is it only a problem if terror is being taught to Hindu kids and it's not a problem when it's being taught to Muslim kids? Is it par for the course for Muslim kids to support Hamas? Is it par for the course for Muslim kids to be led and educated by somebody who thinks that rape is resistance, to believe that killing babies in their crib is resistance, to believe that entering Israel and beheading men and killing over 1,500 innocent civilians sleeping in their bed or preparing for Shabbat morning, preparing for an Israeli holiday and a festival is resistance? Do you really want that teacher to be, leading Muslim kids? I'm going to assume you don't care about Hindu kids. Fine. Do you want her teaching Muslim kids? Do you want Muslim kids to learn that jihad is okay? Everybody knows my views on it, but this is the question to everybody else who's listening to this. Moving on from our article, once our article was published, there was, of course, hue and cry. Um, Scroll was one of the first to publish an article. In the Scroll article, they absolutely refused to mention what her views are. They don't talk about her pro Hamas views. They don't talk about her essentially admitting to her thought process that rape, murder, plunder, killing babies in their crib can be termed resistance. They don't talk about any of that. They call OpIndia a Hindutva website. By the way, we're very proud that we're a Hindutva website. We're not going to distance ourselves from that at all. They talk about how she's potentially being targeted because she's a Muslim. That's their insinuation, at least. And they also interestingly talk about how there are some parents who are supporting Sheikh. I know that for a fact. But they also talk about some parents who are not supporting Sheikh. Um, the scroll article, bias as it was, we don't need to talk about it too much. What we do need to talk about, however, is a couple of Times of India articles and one article from Hindustan Times. In the Hindustan Times report, she owns liking all of those tweets. Parveen Sheikh, she admits to liking all of those tweets and she says that she has no plan to resign. Um, she says that to Hindustan Times, I'm reading out the Hindustan Times article right now. She says the article was published on April 25th, following which the management scheduled a meeting to discuss the allegations made in the article. While they acknowledge my hard work in shaping Somaiya School, they said that they were under immense pressure to take action. They've demanded for my resignation. I refuse to resign. Great. She says, the Hindustan article says, Sheikh remains steadfast in her resolve to hold on to her position in the school. She said, the news portal that published the article about me is known for its bias against secular constitutional ethos, as well as the Palestinian cause. Its followers who have trolled me would share the same bias. Now, this becomes important because she says that OpIndia article should not be taken seriously because we are biased against the Palestinian cause. Now, let me be very clear. In the OpIndia article, we specifically mentioned that supporting Palestine is not a crime. It's a political ideology. We have our own views on that political ideology, but we don't need to get into it. The problem is supporting Hamas and what they did and calling it resistance. Sheikh has branded that as being anti Palestine, therefore owning her views that what Hamas did was actually resistance. But we don't need to theorize, we don't need to speculate about that. In the Times of India article, the Times of India itself says that she has admitted to liking those posts. The Times of India article is also very interesting because it says that some of the parents have raised concerns. Some of the parents who have spoken to Times of India have raised concerns that Parveen Sheikh changed the name of the school houses, the student houses, to from names of the Vedas to animals. Now, on the face of it, it's not really a problem. A principal is well within her right to change names. However, given her pro-Hamas, pro-Zakir Naik, pro-Umar Khalid Islamist views, if you see that in context of everything she said, it becomes evident that she was not comfortable with the school houses, the student houses being named after Hindu Vedas. Um, what is also interesting is that the parent tells Times of India that she has been hiring a lot of Muslim educators and staff members recently, and she has also started celebrating certain festivals and stopped the celebration of others. When I looked at the Instagram account of Somaiya School, I did notice that they celebrated Eid with banners of Ramadan Kareem, which is again very Arabic, but whatever. They celebrated Eid with banners of Ramadan Kareem. They celebrated Christmas with carols. But last year, when they celebrated Diwali, it was about sharing. There was no religiosity attached to it. I studied in a Christian school, so I know that all the carols of Christmas are extremely religious. Ramadan Kareem itself is, extremely religious. But when it comes to Hindu festivals, there was no religiosity attached to the celebration at all. She did indeed change the names of the houses as well. What is interesting to me also is that she invokes secularism and constitution to talk about, to defend her views which favor Hamas. Now, yes, our constitution is sadly secular. However, secularism means that the state is not going to espouse officially any religion, even if we accept the secularism word being a part of our constitution. I personally don't. But even if we do, secularism certainly doesn't mean that it gives a Muslim woman the right to support terrorism, to support rape, and to support beheading and call it resistance. And even if it gives her the right, and even if she can't be prosecuted for it, it certainly gives the school the right to say that we don't want a principal who thinks rape is resistance and who think killing babies in their cribs is resistance. to be leading our school and to be responsible for the education of the children who are in our care. So, whether Parveen Sheikh thinks that the constitution gives her the right to support terror or not, it is for the Somaiya School to decide whether they want a teacher like that leading their students. Days after our story was published, SDPI extended support to the pro Hamas principal of Somaiya School. Here's what SDPI says in their Facebook post. They say this is, they posted on Facebook on the 3rd of May, looks like. They say Islamophobia in India. The Somaiya School in Mumbai has asked its principal Parveen Sheikh to resign after OpIndia published an article targeting her for her. Um, the Somaiya School in Mumbai has asked its principal Parveen Sheikh to resign after OpIndia, a Hindutva propaganda website accused of spreading misinformation and hate speech, published an article targeting her for her. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing it means for her Muslim identity. Sheikh has worked at the private school in the city's Vidya Vihar locality for 12 years and has been its principal for over 7 years. So, SDPI is saying that this is Islamophobia and we are doing this because we're a Hindutva website. So be it. But I think it should concern everybody, all the liberals. If it's only a Hindutva website who is thinking about the well being of children, Hindu and Muslim, regardless of their religion, in Somaiya School, I would like to give some background on SDPI. SDPI is an organization, is a student arm of PFI, and there are news reports from 2023, September 15th, that PFI was using SDPI to revive itself. It was an ANI report, and PFI has been banned for terror activity. What is interesting also is that I had broken that story. PFI in their Vision 2047 document, right before they were banned, they had basically said that Muslims in India need to talk about jihad, need to talk about turning India into the House of Islam, Darul Islam from Darul Harb. They need to genocide Hindus. They need to be given arms training to fight a war against Hindus, so on and so forth. You can read that report on OpIndia. It's called PFI Vision Document 2047. And in that report by PFI, they essentially say that when you talk about jihad, when you talk about Islam, you should use the veil of the Constitution and Ambedkar to talk about everything that you need to talk about. So I had given this speech as well, where I had said that if you see a Muslim saying that, covering up their Hindu hate and covering up their pro-terror views, by holding the flag or by talking about the Constitution, remember what PFI said, that you need to talk about turning India into an Islamic nation like Afghanistan. However, you need to cover it up by talking about the Constitution and talking about the flag. I believe that's exactly what Parveen Sheikh is doing, and I believe that is extremely dangerous for the students of the school. This was the background of everything that has transpired since the 21st of last month to today, which is the 5th of May. I would like to now talk directly to the parents of Somaiya School, the parents who have children studying in Somaiya School. I am the mother of an 8-year-old daughter. I am the mother of an 8-year-old child. And I know that in these situations, it does become intimidating to go against the system. Your child has made friends in the school. You're scared that if you speak up, what would the other parents think? You're scared that would it poison the social circle that you've created around your friends' contacts and your child's contacts and your child's friends. Would it affect and make awkward the pickups and the drops when you're when you're with your child? Would it make awkward because you would be outcast and typecast as somebody who wants the principal to be ousted? I get the constraints, I moved to Delhi very abruptly from Calcutta, and I put my child in a school. It took her a really long time to make friends. It took me a really long time to be somebody who could open up with the rest of the parents. And I understand that if such a situation arose, it would be uncomfortable and I would be scared to speak up. Parents would be scared to speak up, wondering what if I speak up today and the trust refuses to fire Parveen Sheikh. And then my child is going to be in the same school where I spoke up against the principal. And what is then the principal? How is then that principal going to treat my child? I get the fear. I get the constraint because I'm a mother too. And I speak to you right now in this segment as a mother and not as a journalist who broke the story. I speak to you as a mother because I need you to understand that not speaking today has larger ramifications on the future of your child, whether you're a Hindu parent or a Muslim parent. It has larger ramifications on the future of your child than not speaking up. Parveen Sheikh thinks the murder of babies in their cribs and the rape of women and the rape of young girls is resistance, is legitimate pushback against so called occupation. Islam believes that India is occupied by the Hindus. Islam believes that India is Darul Harb and it needs to be turned into Darul Islam. SDPI, which has extended support to Parveen Sheikh, believes that India needs to be turned into an Islamic nation. PFI, which is reviving itself through SDPI, believes that Hindus need to be genocided and India needs to be an Islamic nation. Tomorrow, if these barbarians stand at the gate and they murder our children and they rape our babies, people like Parveen Sheikh are going to say that the rape and the murder was resistance, that it was legitimate violence against our children, against our women, and against our men. I know a lot of us and a lot of people out there don't care about the Israeli children or the Israeli women because it's too far away. It's not our problem. ये हमारे साथ तो नहीं हो सकता. हम जिन मुसलमान को जानते हैं वो तो ऐसा नहीं कर सकते. ये तो कितनी दूर हुआ है, इज़राइल में हुआ है, उसका तो एक पॉलिटिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट है उस कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का, एक हिस्टोरिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट है. इसीलिए ज़रूरी नहीं है कि जो इज़राइल में हुआ वो हमारे साथ हो. आई नो a lot of people think like that. I know a lot of people believe that what happened to Nupur Sharma, not me, the other Nupur Sharma from BJP, is a far off issue because why would it ever happen to us? I'd like to say that Nupur Sharma never thought that this would happen to her either. I never thought that I would get Sartan se juda threats. I never thought that I'd have Islamists baying for my blood. Islamists like Samuel Khan, by the way, who is today standing with Parveen Sheikh. You can look him up on Twitter. It is always somebody else's problem till it reaches our doorstep. When I was in Bengal during post poll violence, I've been born and brought up in Calcutta. My generations have lived in Calcutta, not anymore, but yes, I was there. My family was there for generations. I never thought that 100 meter from my house, which was in a predominantly Hindu locality, in a very posh locality, a man could be brutally lynched to death along with his dogs by Muslims and by TMC goons. This happened. This happened in 2021 during the post poll violence after Mamata Banerjee won in the state. I never thought that I would someday be covering these everyday occurrences where Hindus are massacred and Hindus are raped. Kanhaiya Lal never thought that he would be beheaded and his information would be passed by a neighbor of his. Umesh Kole from Maharashtra, from your state, from where the school is, never thought that a friend of his from 17, 19, 18, 18, 19 years, who he helped monetarily during his daughter's marriage, would turn around and give jihadis the information to behead him. This is all recorded. This is all police, confirmed details of the murder of Kanhaiya Lal and Umesh Kole. The truth is, we never think it would happen to us until it does. If you sit today and if you ignore this story today, and if you keep quiet because you're scared of the social circle that you've built among the parents, and you don't speak up, when the barbarians stand at our doors, people like Parveen Sheikh are going to justify the murder of our babies and the rape of our women and the beheading of our men as legitimate resistance against Hindus. And that day, we will have nobody else to blame but ourselves. You will have nobody else to blame but yourselves. It is time to demand for action. It is time to regroup. It is time to tell the Somaiya Trust that they can get whoever they want to replace Parveen Sheikh. But somebody who believes that the murder of babies, the rape of women, and the beheading of men is legitimate resistance and legitimate action against people who you disagree with, she can't be leading our children and she can't be shaping the future of our children. I know that a lot of you believe that Parveen Sheikh is extremely professional. She's done her duty and job. She's fulfilled her jobs really well. But it is true that she has owned up to every post that she's liked. It is true that a day after 1600, 1500 innocent civilians were murdered, she called that action resistance and she supported it. And if tomorrow there are barbarians at the door out to murder our babies and rape us, and people like Parveen Sheikh or Parveen Sheikh herself calls it legitimate resistance against Hindus, you will have no face, you will have no place to hide. You will have no place to hide your face because you will have to give an answer to your children that when you had the opportunity to make a statement and to tell the world that we will not stand by those who support terror in the name of Allah. Where were you? What were you doing? And why did you stay silent? I know it's difficult. I know it's intimidating. But for the well being of your children and for the well being of all children, you must speak up today. Because if you don't, they are going to twist facts, and your children, for the foreseeable future, are going to be stuck with a principal who believes it's okay to murder babies, and it's okay to rape women, and it's okay to behead men. The choice is yours. I can only appeal. I have to clarify I have no skin in this game in the sense I'm not from Mumbai. My child doesn't go to Somaiya School. I didn't know of Parveen Sheikh before I got that tip email on the 21st of last month. Whether Parveen Sheikh stays or goes has holds no value to me personally. In my personal capacity, it won't matter to me. It won't change the course of my child's future or my future. It just doesn't bother me on a personal capacity. But as a journalist and as somebody who documents crimes and religious hatred against Hindus on a regular basis, I am requesting you and I'm urging you to come out of your shell and fight for your child's future. If you won't, nobody will. Thank you.